Hello all, welcome back to SQL with Ravimartha. Today we'll see finding the tables with identity column using SQL. This is part 27 of this video series. If you haven't watched the previous videos, I'll have the link for my SQL video playlist in the description of this video so that you can refer. Right, let's get started. The first question we are going to see is what is an identity column in SQL? Second, how to find tables with identity column. And the third one is how to find seed, increment, and current identity value of a table with identity column. Right? Let's answer these three questions and we'll also write the SQL query. So let's go back to SQL Server Management Studio and start writing the queries for these three questions. So we are in SQL Server Management Studio. And the first question is, what is an identity column? So identity column is a property by which we can auto-generate IDs for a column. And identity, this property takes two arguments. One is seed and the other one is increment. Right? So the seed means we want to specify from which value we want to start the values from in the column. So here I have mentioned 1, 1. That means I want the values of this column to start from 1 and increment 1 every time. So the first employee starts with 1 and next it will be incremented by 1, 2, and then so the second value will be 2 and the next value will be incremented by 1, then it will be 3. So the employee IDs will be generated 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. So this is called seed value, this is called increment value, right? So I'm going to create a table new underscore employees with identity. We should specify identity 1, 1, which means this is an identity column. So let me create this table. So the table got created. Let's see the table using the sp underscore help. So that's the table. It's having four columns. And we have the identity, this is the property, and the identity is on employee ID, seed value 1, increment value is 1. Right? So this is what identity column is. And now let's add a couple of rows into this. So I have added 3 rows to this particular table and let me run the query. Let me select the data from the table. So we have 3 rows which are inserted. 1, 2, and 3. Since we have specified the seed value as 1 and increment value is 1. So 1, 2, 3 is the sequence. If you observe, we have 4 columns in the table, but we have only given 3 columns while inserting the data to the table. There is no need to specify the employee ID value as it is an identity column. Let's see what happens if we give identity column. Let's execute this. So it says an explicit value for identity column in the table. New employees can only specified when column list is used and identity insert is on. So there is a property called identity insert and we should switch it on when we are trying to insert the value with employee ID value. Right? So we'll speak about this particular property later on in the session, and for now leave it. So this is how the identity column can be defined on a table, right? And which is used to auto generate IDs for a particular column based on the seed as well as the increment values. So let's see how to find the table names and the column name on which the identity is defined, right? So for that, the method one is we can use sys identity columns, right? So this is a property. I'm just passing the object name. I'm using the object name to derive the table name, and I'm passing the object ID as a argument, and I'm using the name as name nothing but the column name. So it gives the table name as well as the column name here, and I can also find the seed value, increment value from this table, right? So this is I can also alias it. Let's give this here So this is the table name and the column name. We can write it as a column name. So this is the alias I'm giving. So this is the table name, column name, and the seed value and increment value. There are some system tables as well. Let's don't worry about that. So we have the table 1 and 2, table 1 and 4 and 5 are the user defined tables. So this is the method 1 by which we can identify the identity columns in a table. The second method is we can use sys columns, and we can use this particular column to identify the tables with identity. We can use sys.columns where is identity is equal to 1, right? So I'm just aliasing it here. So this is the table name and the column name, right? So we can also give the column name here. So this is how the table name and column name can be obtained. And let's go to the method 3. So here I'm using information schema underscore columns, and I'm also using a function called a column property, which takes 3 arguments. One is the ID and the column name as well as the property, right? So this gives the table name and column name, and we can also find the seed value as well as the incremental value. Let's click this. So here we have all the details about the table name, column name, seed value, increment value, as well as the maximum identity value which it is currently holding, right? So I'm using a couple of functions here to derive the seed, increment, and the current identity value, that is ident underscore seed to derive the seed value. I'm passing the table name with schema just to derive the seed, and using ident underscore increment incr, I'm passing the schema and the table name to derive the increment value, and ident underscore current is the maximum ID value which is it's holding, that is the current identity value, right? So we can use information underscore schema dot columns, and there is a function called a column property, and which takes 3 arguments. One is the ID, column name, and the property. So property we are using is identity. If this property is satisfied, so it will be returned as 1. So that data will be retrieved here. So this is how we can find the identity value, including seed as well as the increment and current identity. And we can also derive it at a table level, information schema tables, right? If I run this, so we can find the tables, table name, seed, increment, and current identity value. So since this is at a table level, we are not getting the column value. So if you want the column name as well, we should use information underscore schema dot columns, and the table type may be the base table or the view. So depending on that, we can use this. So I'll place all the scripts in the description of the video, and you can explore. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. We'll meet again in the next video.